Can't we just get along?
I'm trying to.
All right. Rumors. UFC is trying to rebook Khabib versus Tony for September.
Yeah, great. Let's do it. I knew that they were trying to rebook those guys. We actually touched on that last week. As far as September, I did not know that. I'm happy for Khabib. You know, I do not like a guy that gets kicked when he's down. Khabib missed weight. He missed out on a payday. He missed out on an opportunity. He missed out on a title fight. He missed out on so many things. And if there's a way to just patch that boat and all of us to forget that ever happened and not have to kick him, cool with me. And I love that fight, and I was promised that fight. As a fan, I was told I was going to get to see that fight. So if the company is trying to keep that together, I feel that they're holding up their end to me. So I like that for multiple reasons. As far as breaking that fight down, let's do it as it gets closer to September. But it makes me happy. It does add to some speculation on Conor Floyd. Now, I sent out a tweet last week that Conor Floyd is on, and I will stand by that. I have insider information. Generally, and Joel, this one's really weird. Really, really weird. I feel that fight should absolutely be announced, and I did announce it, and I'm announcing it here too, and I'm going to stand by it. Generally, when you hear a rumor of a fight, what a reporter will do is he will go to the highest possible person that would know, which is the fighter. If you call Conor and say, Conor, are you fighting Floyd? He will say yes. Normally, you would run that story. If you call Floyd and you ask him, Floyd, are you fighting Conor? He will say yes. Normally, you would run that story. That is the verification and the top-level source that you need. For some reason, both of these fighters have said they're fighting, and no reporter has announced it. Now, I have information from somebody higher than that, which is a guy at the ticketing company where the build was sent in. And to tell you what that means, it's called a build. In that industry, that is where you submit to the ticketing company what you want, what your card is, what your date is, but essentially your schematics. This is what the arena layout is going to look out. That's called a build. That's the first step in lining up your tickets. A build was submitted, and I got that right from the ticketing guy. Whether that information is accurate or not, I believe it is. I believe it is enough that I reported it, I tweeted on it, and I will tell you again, and I don't know how to use any clearer language, Conor and Floyd are going to fight.
I wish you wanted to said it was the ticket guy. I was going to ask you if it was the syndicate. Did you get that information from the syndicate?
I don't know what that means.
I know, but it's a cool word, like the syndicate. All right, let's stay on Ferg.
All right.
I think we'll have varying opinions on this. So Ferg didn't get a fight. He had a $250,000 show bonus. You know, you get
guarantee. $250,000 guarantee to show.
But he did not get that. He said he got over six figures. He did not get the $250,000. Pretty upset about that. My opinion is whether you made it to the ring or not, you should get your $250. I think you're going to have a different opinion on that.
No, well, I can't share my opinion because that is the law. If a fight, well, here, let's discuss this. If a fighter weighs in, he gets his show money. If the fight is canceled anytime, but this is the law. I'm not sharing opinion with you. This is the commission rule, and it's in all 50 states. If a fighter weighs in, now the promoter is on the hook. That is the only time that the promoter has exposure and liability and could lose a fight and still have to cough up the money is after weigh-ins. What happened with Ferg, if you really wanted to look at the letter of that, the weigh-in didn't happen. And people are going to go, well, yes, it did. I saw Ferg weigh in. Hold on. That fight was canceled before the weigh-ins. Ferguson did a ceremonial weigh-in by the letter of the law. The commission will not step in and tell the promotion you must pay at that point. So the promotion went to Ferg and made a deal and said, look, we know you did your part, but we did lose this fight. You know, how's 120 ground sound? And Ferg said, yeah. And that was a stand-up good move that did not have to be done. The promotion could get credit there. They won't. The promotion only gets buried. Promoters only get picked on. I watch Coker. Coker's hands stay clean. Everybody loves him. But if anything goes wrong, he gets blamed. It's like, well, no, hold on a second. Coker, no, absolutely not. He always follows the rules. He's always a man of his word. And then he goes even further and looks out for guys. Dana White does that same thing. Dana White comes out looking like a jerk every time, never defends himself. So people will turn and say Ferg should have got it all. But the rules do matter. And any other promoter, not named Coker or White, would have just penciled the guy out and said no. Instead, they went to him. They said, well, look, we know you did your training camp. We want to make this right by you, even though it's going to be to our loss. And they wrote the check. And they should be given credit for that, not put down.
If you could only marry one person, and it was Coker, Dana White, and
Daniel Cormier,
which one would it be?
I don't think the Cormier. I don't know where you say I have some kind of love for Cormier.
God, I can't wait to start talking about that fight in a minute. Oh God, you would have married him.
Cormier and AJ?
Yeah,
I'm into that fight. But when I give you an analysis and say, look, the fight's already happened, and we have to base reality on information we have, those guys already fought. It's fair for me to say that I give a nod towards Daniel. It doesn't mean I know Daniel's going to win it. I'm not going to watch that fight, but I do have evidence, which is that fight in the first sequence, and it already happened, and Daniel won. That's just what happened. That's fair.
If Jacob just told us DC was in the lobby, would you fix your hair before letting him in?
I really don't know where that DC part comes from, but I do stand by my point that promoters in MMA largely do get a bad rap. But if you went back and you looked at the way that boxing's done, or even MMA on the smaller scales, and largely it's because they have to. It does come down to economics, and they just simply don't have it. They do a lot of things where they look after the guys, and they only get criticized. And I do look at it sometimes and go, no, wait a minute. There's some risk here for both guys. No promoter has to write a check of any kind, let alone a six-figure check for a match that doesn't take place. And even by the law, if the weigh-in is canceled, the entire fight can be pulled. And when a promoter goes in the back and gives a guy a big check, kick him down the road till the next time, it's something that he should be given credit for.
Rumor. This is Kyle Snyder, who we talked about in detail yesterday, is looking to make his MMA debut before the 2020 Olympics. That's not a rumor. That's 4 years from now. You need a fortune teller for that.
That's pure speculation. I won't even comment on it. And if you're asking me to sell or short that one, I will short it. He will not debut before the 2020 Olympic Games.
Here's some juicy stuff. Though Malky
Malky
has come out saying it is false, Todd Duffy tweeted that he heard through reliable sources that John Jones may have gotten into some more trouble while already on suspension out in New Mexico. Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. I have no comment. It's the first I heard. But again, if you wanted me to just give an opinion, I'm going to say no. If there's anybody that a secret can't be kept with, it's a star like John. I mean, the second he was in that traffic accident, we knew before reports came out on the news and media. I was sitting on an airplane, and I had news. So no, if anything had happened with John, there'd be no way to keep that secret. And frankly, Malky is very good at getting out and getting in front of a story. If there was any truth to it, they would have already done that, is my opinion. I suppose what you said, time will tell. I suppose that's the right statement on that.
I didn't say it. My notes said it. I hope John's not in any trouble.
You didn't just say time will tell? I credited you with the line, and now you're giving the credit back? Sure you did. That wasn't very Ariel Helwanish of you. You do that a lot on here, though. You do deny things that were just said.
It doesn't matter.
You can't really deny it after it was just said.
As long as I have this seat, I can say whatever I want.
But not gain credibility.
Who cares? Credibility.
All right, what else you got? I feel like you're digging yourself a hole, and I'm trying to get you out of it.
What hole? The hole I've been living in the last 15 years? Well, sorry, 8. Matt, we'll have some fun with this. Matt Hughes is talking about coming out of retirement and would look to fight a rematch against Royce Gracie in Bellator, and his second choice of opponent is Lad Supernaw.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, that's a cash grab. I don't know what's going on in Matt's life. That's a cash grab. He made it pretty clear that he doesn't want to do this sport. I'm in. I'll tune in. That's not going to do some record. That's not record-breaking news. Matt wasn't a big draw in the UFC when he was in his prime. But he's got a place, and if he wants to come back, I will tell you that to call a guy out who you've already beaten in less than 5 minutes, I mean, if that guy wants to call you out, cool. If Hoist wants to call Matt out, cool. But for Matt to come back and then call a guy out that he already beat in less than a round, a little bit weird.
Hey, lad, that was a joke. You're really not fighting Matt Hughes.
What do you think about that? I mean, you weigh in on that. Don't you think there's something maybe a little bit peculiar about calling a guy out that you beat in less than? I mean, isn't that a little bit weird? We don't usually call guys out that we beat.
Or smart. Hey, I'm 40 years old. I want to get paid. I want to fight somebody I can beat.
No, it's not smart, Joel. If he wanted to fight Hoist Gracie and he did that behind the scenes and leveraged that would be smart. To come out publicly and say, I'm the one trying to get a fight with a guy who I already beat. Oh, and by the way, I want a ton of money. No, I would disagree with you. I don't think that's smart. This is one of the things, Matt Hughes was not a big draw in the UFC. However, he was very important, and he did some very heavy lifting at a time when they really needed some heavy lifting to be done, and he's been rewarded and thought of highly because of that. And if you go back and you look at his fights, not only was he an excellent fighter, but if you go look at the times that he fought and who he fought the best guys, and some of them on very short notice. So he did do a lot for the company, but he was not a big pay-per-view draw ever. So to come back now, I'd imagine he won a pretty big paycheck. He was given big paychecks back then out of his loyalty to the company, but he wasn't actually bringing in that revenue. So I don't know what you do with him. If you take a hardcore fan like me, that's pretty exciting news. I'd like to see Matt and Hoist fight. I always like to see Hoist fight, and I always like to see Matt fight. So you tell me they're fighting each other. But could today's person tune in, the people that we're counting on today that really drive those ratings up and have them interested? I think you'd have some struggles.